Hi everyone. In today's session, we are going to learn one of the most important basics in Java programming, variables and data types. This is the foundation of writing any program. So make sure you stay with me till the end. So what is variable? Variable is a named memory location that stores data which can change during the execution of program. Think of a variable is like a named storage box in your computer's memory where you can keep data and use it later in your program. Each variable has a name. Imagine we are naming the box. Each variable has a type, meaning what kind of data that the box can hold. For example, a container with a hole cannot hold liquids, but a solid container can hold liquids, and the value inside the variable can be changed while the program runs. For example, here you can see int age equal to 25. Here int is the data type. It means we are storing a integer number. Age is variable name. We name this variable and the value 25 is stored inside this variable. So it's like writing age equals 25 on a sticky note and posting it on a container. Variable value can be reassigned. So if you assign a value 20 for variable and reassigned it to 25 later, then the new value of variable will be 25. So why do we need variables? Store values temporarily while program runs to reuse data without rewriting it. Example, if we assign a variable called age equal to 25, we can use this value in any part of the code multiple times using the variable name. We don't have to write it again and again. And to make programs dynamic, meaning, so what does it mean to make programs dynamic? We can get input from the user later. I'll explain how to get input from the user, and it is also used in calculation. Example, I'll give you one example. Let's assign one variable called sum, int sum equal to 20 plus 30. This will gives us the sum 50. So types of variable. It has a variable has three types of variable: local variables, instance variables, and static variables. So what is local variables? Local variables are declared inside a method or constructor. They are created when the method runs and destroyed when the method ends. And you must initialize them before using. Otherwise, we will get an error. I'll give you one example. Let's go to Eclipse, new package. To create new package, right click, new, click on package, dot. Inside this variables package, let's create new class called test. Now we got the class called test. Inside this, let's create a method called display. So I said local variables should be declared inside method or constructor. Here in this test class, we have created one method. So local variables should be declared inside the method or constructor. Since we have created a method, we are going to declare one variable, one local variable inside this method. Name of the variable, let's say num equal to 20. So now we have assigned num variable with int data type to 20. Now what we are going to do is we are going to print this num. To print this, we have to pass variable name inside this ln statement. Let's check it. Let's run it and see what output we are getting in the console. So earlier in the last class, I said we need main method to run any classes. So let's add main method, create one object for this class. Now let's call the method. Now we can run it. See, we got the output. Funny. So what happened is here before printing this num variable, we need to initialize it so that we can pass this variable inside the print ln statement and we can print the output in the console. And this variable only exists when we call the display method and run it. It only exists inside the method. It don't exist outside the method, not in class level, only in method level because we have declared it inside the method. Let's move on to the next variable, which is instance variable. This is declared inside the class level but outside the method level. They belong to objects. If we don't initialize or assign any value to these variables, default values will be assigned to them. What is default values for this data types? We have lot of data types like byte, int, short, float, double. These data types will be stored with zero value. And we have three more data types, char, string, and this will be assigned with null. And one more data type we have boolean. Default value for boolean is false. Now we are going to create one class to check this instance variables. Let's create one class called student new class. So inside this class, we are going to create one instance variable. Let's say string name of the variable is just we are giving name and the data type is string and we are going to create one more instance variable int age. To display our output, we are going to create one more method called show. Like I said, what we have did is we have created an instance variable in class level, not in method level. We have not created this instance variable inside the method. If we have created a variable inside the method, it is local variable. But what we have did is we have created a variable in class level. So it's instance variable. So now let's print it. To print, we can pass this variable name inside the statement name plus. So if we want something to be printed in the console, we have to pass it within double quotes. Is so when we add string plus data types variables, we have to use this concatenate when we are going to print something and we are going to use the variable name and also we are going to pass some string values. We have to use this concatenate. Without this, you can't print it. It will throw error. So between these words, you have to use concatenate symbol. So plus age, the variable we have assigned already. We have initialized already. We haven't assigned any value. We just initialized at class level as an instance variable plus years old. This years old and this is we want us to print as it is. So we are passing it within double quotes. And this name and age is the variable we have initialized already. So to run this code, we need main method. Let's create a variable object. Now we have created an object. What we are going to do is we are going to assign a value to this variable using this object name because this instance variables or belongs to object. If we are going to create one more object that also belongs to this object. So always instance variable belongs to object. Using the object, we can call it. Call it stu dot main. Here you are getting this triangle symbol that shows that it's a variable name. We are going to assign a value. Let's say name is John. I told you that they belong to the object. Here you can see how we are using object name dot. variable name to assign value directly. Let's assign value to age as well. And to print this statement, we have to call the method show. Now let's run the program to see what happens. Here you can see John, the value we have assigned to the name variable John is 25 years. 25 is the age variable, years old. We got the expected output. John is 25 years old. What is next? So what is static variable? A static variable is a variable that belongs to class, not to individual objects. We declare this in class level. It is shared across all objects of that class. Memory for it allocated only once. That happens when the class is loaded. It needs to be declared with static keyword. When you declare a static variable or method, it should have the static keyword. The difference between instance variable and static variable is instance variable, each object has its own copy, whereas for static variable, only one copy exists and all objects share it. So to create static variable, here you can see I have used static keyword and the data type is int and the variable name I have assigned is base equal to 4. This is the static variable. So consider if there is a class called char and we have assigned a variable with wheels which is static and you can see it has the keyword static. So to understand this, let's create one program variable using constructor. Before that, I'll give you a short intro about constructors. So constructors work based on two main rules. A constructor name should be same as the class name and it will be invoked when the object is created. No need to call the method using objects. Now let's create one class. Let's go to Eclipse. Let's create a new class. Let's say class name is car. Here I'm going to initialize two variables. One is color, another one is field. First, let's initialize string variable color and now I am going to create one static variable. To create static variable, we have to use the static keyword. Variable name is wheels and the data type is int equal to, let's say, car has four wheels and all cars share the same wheel count. So let's consider this variable name. And now I'm going to create one constructor. I already told you the constructor name should be same as the class name. Inside method or constructor, within this parenthesis, we can pass parameters. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to initialize one variable inside this parenthesis. It's called passing the parameters. Our variable name which we initialized earlier is color. To assign instance variable to local variable, we have to use one keyword called this dot variable name color equal to color. Now what happened is this instant variable became local variable. It is inside this constructor. Let's create main method. Let's create an object. So I have already told you constructors will be invoked while we creating object. We no need to call the methods using this object. We just we just have to create object and it will be invoked automatically. So what we are doing is here inside this parenthesis we can assign value. We have already passed parameters, string color. For this we can assign value here inside this object. Let's say color is red and I'm going to create one more object. This time let's say color is blue. We are going to print some statements using this instance variables and static variable. First, let's call the instance variable. To call instance variable, what we have to do is object name dot object name dot variable name. As we did in the previous example, object name dot variable name. Plus, now to call static method, what we have to do is we have to use one syntax called class name dot variable name. Here our class name is car dot our variable name is deals. Here you can see we are getting variable name. In the variable name you can see yes, which means it is a static variable. So let's select that. Let's print one more statement since we have assigned two values to our instance variable for our second object called static variable class name dot variable name. So you can imagine your class in real life. Like let's say there is one class called student and all students belong to same school, which is static. But each student has their own name, which is instance variable. Here you see the same way in our car example, each car has its own color, but every car has four wheels. So the static variable, it will be if you have initialized in the class level, so the variable value will be remaining same. We have already initialized the value 4 and it's gonna remain same and we can call this variable using class name dot variable name. So the reason why I gave you this example is to show you the static variables can be called directly with class name. So the syntax to call static variable here is class name dot variable name. In the same way, if we want to call static method, if there is a method, static method, we can just use the class name dot method name. We don't have to create an object and we don't have to call the method using object name dot method name. If you keep your static method public, it can be even called in different class with a syntax class name dot method name. So there are certain rules to name the variables. It should start with a letter or dollar sign or a underscore. Example here you can see age, which is starts with a letter, and the second example is underscore count starts with underscore, and dollar sign price starts with a dollar sign. But in most cases, naming the variable with letters is enough. Underscore and dollar is allowed, but it is better to avoid them unless required for specific cases. And second rule is it can contain letters, digits, dollar sign, and underscore. Here you can see roll number one, total underscore amount, price, dollar sign. It cannot start with a number, but you can add a number at the end or middle. And no space is allowed. Here in this example, you can see student name. There is no space between the words, and here it have used the camel case and cannot use Java keywords like class, int, static, etc. So here in the example, you can see int static equal to 5. This will throw an error. We cannot use Java keywords. If it throws an error, just change the name to something else which is meaningful or relatable. Case sensitive. Value and this value and this value are two different variables. Here it starts with a lowercase and it starts with uppercase. Normally we name our variables in lowercase and here this is two different variables, not the same variable. Next topic, data types. Data types define what kind of values a variable can hold. Data types tell Java what kind of data a variable can hold. They decide the size of memory required, the range of value you can store, the operations you can perform. Java has two categories of data types. First one is primitive data types, and the next one is non-primitive data types. Here in this table, I have listed the primitive data types. You can see the first type is byte. It has size in 8 bits and the range is this. An example, you can say the data type byte b equal to 100. And the next one is short. It has 16 bytes. The range is here. And the example is data type short s equal to 5000. Also, here the next is int. And for numerical values, we commonly use int data type 32. Range is here. This use int x equal to some value. And long is for very large number because it has the size of 64 bits and the data type is long L. This is the index. And float is the size of 32 bits. But here for float and double we use decimal values. For float f equal to when using float and long we have to address L or F at the end of the value. It will throw an error. And for a double, we have this index and it has a size of 64 bits. Mostly, this will give you a accurate value, and for precise values, we use double. And character has 16 bits. It use single character. Equal to here you can see within single quotes, it use only single characters allowed. For string, we can use multiple characters, multiple words. We can put words, but for character, we can use one single character. And Boolean is true or false. Also, the syntax for Boolean is this. We can use either true or false. No other value is allowed in Boolean. So you can say, you can imagine like byte is 8-bit. It contains small integers like tiny boxes. Short is 16-bit, which contains large integers like small boxes. Int is 32-bit, commonly used integers like medium boxes. Long is 64-bit, very large integers like giant boxes. And float, these are decimal numbers like measuring cup for liquids. Decimal, but it is small. Double decimal number, these also decimal number gives more accurate value like large measuring cup and carries single characters like a small a or cap a. Boolean is true or false. It's like a light switch, either on or off, only two values, true or false. So we use most commonly used data types are int, double, boolean, and string in everyday coding. The next one is non-primitive data types. These are more advanced and built using classes. Example, string array objects. So you can see here, I have used this string already in our example codes. String name equal to John. Here string is the data type and name is variable name equal to value. And here the string is a predefined class in our Java because it's a non-primitive data type. Non-primitive data types mostly a predefined class. Here you can see the difference. This non-primitive data type starts with caps and these have lowercase. These starts with a lowercase and it starts with the uppercase. Also, I'll give you more examples with this data types. Let's say data types are like a different kinds of jars in our kitchen. A small size jar is byte. It can only hold a tiny amount. And a rice container, let's say int, can hold more. And big flour sack can hold lot more. This is long. And a sugar jar that can hold decimals. We can say either float or double. And a label says the yes or no, which is Boolean. So each container is different, but all help to organize our kitchen, which is our program. So let's create a class with the commonly used data types. We go to Eclipse and let's create one class. So initially, let's assign our variables to values. Consider the data type int, and let's say the variable name is age equal to 25. Double price equal to 99.76. Grade equal to a grade. Char should be in this data type should be in single quotes, not in double quotes. Double quotes is for string. A star equal to true. Let's assign one more data type. It's a non-primitive data type. Here you can see string is from java.lang.string package. So it is as I told you earlier, it is a predefined class in Java. So let's print this data types and their values. To print name, we have to use this variable name. Next is we are going to print age. For age, we have this int age equal to 25. Variable name is age. Next price. Price, of course, normally it denotes it is mentioned with decimal value. So we are going to use this double. The variable name is price. Grade. Grade we specify with a single digit. So single character we have assigned this grade variable name. We have to validate whether the student is passed or not. So that we are going to use boolean value. Either pass or failed. Either it is true or false, on or off. Passed. Variable name is passed. Let's run it. Here you can see we have name John, the value we have assigned, age 25, price, grade, passed through. This is how we have to assign variables using data types, and later in program we can use it. Here you can print it using that variable value. So I have shown you this string name equal to John to assign a variable name equal to variable to values. But there are lot of ways that we can assign value to variables. So here I have mentioned some of the methods. This one is at the time of declaration, which is also called initialization. You declare the variable and give it a value immediately. Here you can see in this example, I have initialized the value here, initialized the value, and I have declared it here. So at the time of declaration, I have initialized and declared the value and declare the variable and give it a value immediately. These all are examples for the at the time of declaration. And the next one is after declaration. After the initialization happens, we can assign it later. So for that, we are taking the same example. Here I have assigned int age equal to 25. Instead of this, what we can do is I have created one variable. I just declared it. I have initialized it. I haven't assigned any value. But later, we have to remove this data type. Just we can use this variable name age equal to 25. Just we can assign it because this is assigning later. First, we have declared it, then assigning a value later using assignment operator. So, this is a perfect example. In class level, we have created one instance. Later, we assign a value to that instance inside a method. Even we can do this inside a method using assignment operator. And the third one is through user input. We have one predefined class in Java, which is scanner. So using this, we can get value from the user at runtime. The syntax for that is inside the main method, we have to create one object for this predefined classes scanner se equal to new scanner system dot in, and using that object name dot, this is the next ind, this is the method from the scanner class, that predefined class, that we can assign it to a variable. It has lot of methods. Since we are using in data type, we are using next end. Here user will enter a value at runtime. So here inside the main method, we have created object for the scanner class. Scanner class is predefined class in Java from java.util.scanner. The scanner class makes it easy to read input. System.in is Java standard input string. It takes input from the keyword by default. It works by wrapping system.in, so we can use symbol method like next ind, next line, next double. There are a lot of methods from scanner class. You can use it. Scanner system.in calls the constructor of the scanner class. The constructor calls the constructor of the scanner class and passes system.in, so that scanner knows it should read input from the keyboard. Next is the method from scanner class to read the integer value. So what we are going to do is we are going to understand this. To understand this, we are going to create one let's create one class called scanner example. We need main method to create object for scanner class. Scanner is equal to, we have created an object for the scanner class. Okay, let's write one statement to print our age. And your age. To print user's age, we have created one statement. This will ask the user to enter their age. Next, what we are going to do is we are going to assign a variable using scanner class method, which is next int. Here we are going to use the data type int age equal to, we are assigning it using the object. We are calling the method from the scanner class. Next int, since the data type is int, we are using next int. This will take a integer input from the user. Print the age as the variable name, which is age. Let's run it. Okay. What we got is enter your age. Enter the age, press enter. Your age is 25. We got our expected output. So here S is the scanner object we have created, and it is connected to the keyboard input via system.in. So I'll give you one real life example to understand this. Imagine there is a mailbox called system.in and you have hired a postman to read that letter for you. The name of the postman is SC. So from the mailbox, the postman will take the letter. The postman called system.in will take the letter and read it to you. So the next way to assign a variable is from another variable. Here we assign the value of one variable to another. I will show you one example. Let's say we are going to assign one variable called int x equal to funny. Now what we are doing is we are creating one more variable int y equal to and we are assigning this to this x variable. Now the value of y will be funny because x had the value funny and we are assigning x to y. So the y gets a value funny. Next one is using expressions. Here the value will be assigned after calculation or expression. I'll give you one example. Int sum equal to 5 plus 6. Here initially we are assigning a value with expression to a variable called sum. And I'm creating one more variable int product equal to the sum variable we are taking into 2. So and using the sum variable we are assigning it to one more variable called product. So first what happens is initially we are assigning a value with expression to a variable called sum. This will give the result 11 that will be assigned to the variable sum. That 11 will be assigned here 11 into 2, the product. One more variable we have created product. So the result will be 22. Next one is using method return values. We can create method inside classes. We have seen it earlier. A method can return a value which you assign to a variable. So to explain this, let's create one more class called example. Have you ever wondered what this void means? The void means if this method is not returning any values. That's why we are mentioning void here. So what we are going to do is we are going to make this method return a int value. With that, we are going to specify return data type here int and what it is going to return is return 42. Here we have created one method called getNumber. This will return this 42. Since 42 is integer, we have to remove this void and return the data type near the method. If it returns string, we have to mention that data type near the method. So if we are here in return, if we are returning any string value like a name, return John. If I am giving any value inside double quotes here, return John, then this method has to return string. So let's create a main method, create an object. Now to call method, what we are going to do is object name dot method name. If we want to return any value, this is obviously returning some value here. This from this method, you can see it is returning 42. If you want to see the return type, what you have to do is type control. So this will give you lot of options. You have to select the second option. You can see it is automatically assigned one variable name and it is giving its data type int. Automatically you got the data type int. So here you can see we have assigned the value 42 and it is returning int. We have already assigned it as int data type and here it's returning int with the variable name. We have assigned this variable to this method. This will get the value 42 here and we are assigning the value directly to a variable called value. Let's change it to value. Now we can directly print it. Just what we have to do is we have to pass the variable name. This will directly print the value 42. Here you can see we got the 42 which we have returned earlier. The last type is using object reference. This is used for non-primitive data types, assigning a variables to hold reference objects. This we know already. Here we have created one object for this class example. So we create object with a reference variable name. So broadly speaking, we can assign values by initialization, later assignment, user input from another variable via expressions through method return values or via objects. That's all about variables and data types in Java. Remember, variables are containers and data types define what kind of data those containers can hold. That's it for today. Let's connect in next session. Thank you.